really excited. And thank you for being here. We're going to have a very nice program, very meaningful program. This is something that Sylvie and I have been waiting for a long time. And it's about pride, and it's about, loving others and being good to each other. So this is awesome. So for the first part, we're going to do a little bit of Torah. Just kind of to open this, you can already start putting your ingredients on the table. And we're going to start with B'Tselem Elokim. For sure, there's something that you have heard, and it's a very important part in the Torah. It comes just in the beginning when, God started the creation of that. I'm also here with Mia. Hi, Mia. So wait just a second. We're going to talk about the Torah, and then I'll answer any question you will have. So the beginning of the Torah, we have the creation, right? God creates this amazing world, the animals, the sky, the stars, the light, the dark, and everything. And then he creates human beings, which is a big deal because it's not that just he create another creature with, with different kind of characteristics, but actually we're created with the image of God. This is a big, big thing. If you think about it, if each of us, any human being has these characteristics, then how wonderful it is, right? So I'm going to read a bit in English. I'm going to read a little bit of that. The first part, which is in Bereshit, this is Genesis. And I see the Shanwell wall here, the Shanwell girls. Hi, girls. And it says like this. God now said, let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness, and let them hold sway over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, over the beasts all over the earth, over all the creeps upon the earth. So God created the human beings in divine image, and we'll stop here because it's like a little bit longer, and we can talk a lot about it. So my question is here. You can put it on the Facebook question. You can answer in the Facebook or here in the chat in the Zoom. If we're created with the image of God, how we should treat others? If we know them, or family, we don't know them maybe, how should we treat them? You can write a word, 2 words about it, and we'll talk about it later. So again, if we are creating in the image of God, all of us, so how would you treat them? Now, I'm going to pass the ball to my dear friend Sylvie. She's going to teach us how to bake the rainbow. We're so excited about it. I'm just unmuting you for a second. It might take oh, there you go. Hi, Sylvie.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to do this with you guys. This is one of my favorite activities to do in university. So I'm really excited to share. So I am using the recipe that is on Facebook. So I'm sure you can find the link to that. And we will get started. We should have 2 bowls, one for the wet ingredients and one for the dry ingredients. So I usually use the smaller one for the wet ingredients. And what we're gonna first do is fill that bowl up with 3/4 of a cup of lukewarm water. So I already put my lukewarm water in here. I'm trying to show it without spill. Oh, no, got a little out. It's all good. So with that, I'm going to add a pinch of sugar, just a little pinch before, not the full sugar, but just a little pinch. I'll show you guys. I'm just gonna sprinkle some of the sugar in here. Awesome. And then next, we will put the yeast in. So we have 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast. I have some instant yeast, but I think any yeast will do. So 2 1/4 tablespoons. That's a lot of yeast. 1 tablespoon. Another tablespoon. I think it said tablespoons. Oops.
Teaspoons.
Awesome. Absolutely great. You know what?
It's okay.
That's the beauty of baking. You can start over. So I'm going to just spill this out because I don't want it to taste like too much yeast. Yeah, that seems like a little bit too much yeast. So I appreciate Jody. Thank you for catching that mistake. Okay, so that is, here it is. First, I'm still going to want to put that yeast in there. 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. And with the sugar and the lukewarm water, you should start to see some bubbles, which is always exciting. That means it's working. And then once you have that mixture, you're going to put that to the side. So I have my small bowl with my yeast and my water and my tiny pinch of sugar. And I'll take my other bowl. So in that, I'm going to start by putting in my flour. So that's 3 3/4 of a cup, 3 cups and 3/4. So I only have a 1/4 cup, so this might take some time. Sorry about that. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 cup. Second cup ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my third cup. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 1 more 1/4 of, and then 3/4 of it. So 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. So now we have all of our flour all together. And we want to add in our salt. This one I wrote down teaspoons, so I know this one's right. So it's 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. So once we finish,
your camera a little bit lower so we can see a little bit of what you're doing over there.
let's see. This. There we go.
Awesome. Perfect.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm so glad. Awesome. So we have that. I'm gonna mix my yeast mixture a little bit, let it bubble, because that's what makes the challah do its thing eventually. So I'm going to put my 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt in the dry mixture. We're ignoring the wet mixture for now. 1 and 1/2 teaspoon. Fantastic. And then we have our 1/4 cup of sugar. So that is going to make this challah very sweet. I'm going to put our sugar in there. Okay. And I like to mix the dry mixture. I have a fork to mix it, but you can use a whisk or a spoon or whatever you're interested in using to mix. And one thing that I have learned about making challah is that it's really nice to either pray or think of names of people who need your prayers or your thoughts while making the challah and putting all of your love and good energy into making this challah. So I am really excited to think about all of my friends and family in the LGBTQ+ community and celebrate them through this challah. So then we're gonna have we can switch over to our wet ingredient mixture. We should have some yeast happening right about now. You can start mixing it a little bit to give it a little extra push. Sugar in there, activate it. And it should fluff up a little bit. Nice color. And so what we would like, the next part, so with the wet ingredients, is we are going to, I guess we can start with the eggs. So it's 1 egg and 3 yolks. And another thing about baking in Judaism is when you're looking at the eggs, you want to make sure that the eggs are kosher and that there's no blood spots. So I always crack my eggs into a clear cup so that I can see if there is a spot. Inspect it first. I don't see anything. So I'm going to mix the eggs. And then I will pour it into my yeast mixture. And then I have 3 yolks. Now, separating eggs from yolks is not the easiest task, but if you're able to, if you could see what I'm doing, I'm going to be pouring the yolk back and forth, holding it in the shell like this, so I can get all of the egg white into the cup and leave just the yolk inside of the shell. And here I'm also inspecting it for spots, and it's all good. So I'll plop it in there. And then I'm going to do that with the other 2 yolks. So let's see if we can, oops, we got a runner. I'll catch him somehow. Get a different shell. Doing like egg surgery over here. Let me see if I can get a spoon.
Well, Sylvie is looking for a spoon. I must say something. So I'm one of the people who are not good at baking. I didn't know that the egg should be not very cold. It should be kind of in room temperature. No one told me this. I was failing a lot. One thing to know is that eggs shouldn't be cold, like in the freezer cold, okay?
This one is cooperating a lot better. And there we go. So that was the 3 of those. And then we have our 1/4 cup of oil. So that I'm going to take, and that also goes in the wet ingredient bowl. Trying to open the oil. Okay. So in our wet ingredient bowl, we've got our 1/4 cup of oil and our honey, which is, how much honey do we have? Let's see. Did I write that down? Jody, do you mind checking how much honey? Just, I don't think I wrote it down. Or Shirel?
I think it's a 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup.
1/4 cup. Awesome. Fantastic. I love the consistency. So I'm going to put 1/4 cup of honey also into the wet ingredients. And that's going to be very sweet challah. I'm really excited to try it. So now we have our wet ingredient mixture in here, and we're going to mix that all together also. I'm going to try and mix it really well. Amazing. Okay. So next you're going to do the exciting part, which is putting it all together. So something that I like to do is make a well in the middle of the bowl of the dry ingredients of the flour. So let me see if I can show this. It's like a little, sort of like a sand pit where you have a little hole in the middle. And I like to slowly pour the mixture a little bit at a time, and then bring the flour on top of it to cover it and mix it. Then I will mix that with a fork, or if you have a whisk, something else.
Chat.
Do you mind
Okay.
telling us a little bit, kind of like the summary? Hi.
Oh, hi. We got kicked off because of our internet. So can I ask you, we have yeast and sugar and water. And then what do we add?
So for the wet ingredients, you'll put in the eggs and the oil and the honey.
Okay, so do that. Okay.
In the wet bowl.
In the wet bowl.
Yes.
No, I don't think in that bowl.
Yes, she said in the wet bowl. Eggs.
Sometimes you have to put a little bit more of some things afterwards, just to make it go nicely. So I'm still pouring it in like a little bit at a time. And at some point you're going to want to start mixing it with your hands, which of course is the fun part. Sorry, I can't see any of the comments in the chat. So people were.
So all the wet ones are done, and now just add it to the flour?
Yeah, so, well, the flour, which is mixed with the sugar and the salt.
Didn't you put the sugar in here? Yes, that's what she did. Okay, flour and sugar and salt. Got it.
Okay. Okay, and again, while you're kneading it, you're going to want to keep thinking about people you care about, and it's just something nice to put all of your thoughts into the challah that you're making. So I have to stand up for this. A lot of it's a good workout. So once you finish kneading the dough, which you can usually knead for, I'd say like 10 to 15 minutes if you have the time. The more you knead it, the better, the more of a bowl it will become. And eventually, once you finish kneading it, you're going to put either saran wrap or a paper towel or a towel over the bowl, and you're going to let it rise. The longer you let it rise, the better. We're probably going to let this rise. I mean, you guys who are watching can go back and watch this part later. I already made some beforehand, so we could do that part as well. But I am going to put this aside, and Shirel, we will mimic the wait time, even though you should really wait like at least an hour to let it rise. We'll let Shirel read a story to take up some of our wait time.
Okay, so now we're going to read a story while you're kneading, because I see you, Jody, and the Shine was doing that. So I'm going to be reading a really nice story. We really, really like it. I'm going to mute just Sylvie so we can see the book. You can see over here. This book is called Heather Has Two Mommies. I really like this book. This is from Leslie Newman. I'm going just to put my mic closer to me so the sound gets better. Mia is playing already with the doll. Heather lives in a little house with a big apple tree in the front yard and lots of tall grass in the backyard. Heather's favorite number is 2. She has 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, and 2 feet. Heather has 2 pets, a ginger-colored cat named Ginger Snap and a big black dog named Midnight. Heather also has 2 mommies, Mama Jane and Mama Kate.
Mommy Kate.
There you go, we can see them here. Mama Kate is a doctor. She has 2 stethoscopes so she and Heather can listen to each other's heartbeats. Mama Jane is a carpenter. She has 2 hammers so she and Heather can build things together. That sounds like fun. Heather and her mommies have lots of fun together. On sunny days, they go to the park. On rainy days, they stay inside and bake cookies. Heather likes to eat 2 ginger snaps and drink a big glass of milk. One day, Mama Kate and Mama Jane told Heather that they have a surprise for her. You're going to start the school next week, Mama Kate said. There'll be lots of other kids to play with and a teacher named Mrs. Molly. Add Mama Jane. Can Midnight and Ginger Snap come too? Asked Heather. No, they have to stay home, Mama Jane says. But you can bring 2 special things with you, says Mama Kate. Heather chooses her favorite blue blanket to rest with a nap time and her favorite red cup to drink out of a snack time. Soon the big day arrives and Mama Kate and Mama Jane take Heather to the new school. There are so many things to play with. Heather sees building blocks, dress-up clothes, crayons, and paint. Heather also sees a big round table for snack time and a cozy corner for nap time. While Mama Jane and Mama Kate talk to Mrs. Molly, Heather pulls 2 puzzles together all by herself. Soon it's time for Mama Jane and Mama Kate to leave. They kiss Heather goodbye and Heather cries, but only a little. Heather has a lot of fun at her new school. She builds a tower out of building blocks and dresses up like a firefighter. She drinks apple juice out of her favorite red cup at snack time and rests in quiet corner with her favorite blue blanket at nap time. Try to do it like this. After nap time, all children sit in the circle while Mrs. Molly reads them a story about a boy whose father is a veterinarian. Who knows what a veterinarian is? Asked Mrs. Molly. I do. My mom is a veterinarian, Juan says. A veterinarian is an animal doctor. I hope I'm pronouncing it well in English. My dad is a people doctor, shouts David. My mommy is a people doctor too, Heather shouts even louder. What does your daddy do? David asks Heather. I don't have a daddy, Heather says. She looks around the circle and wonders, am I the only one here who doesn't have a daddy? I have an idea, Mrs. Molly says. Let's all draw pictures of our families. I love this. Juan draws his mommy, daddy, and big brother Carlos. Miriam draws her mommy and her sister Rachel playing in the park. Stacy draws her daddy and her papa reading her stories. Joshua hangs up the picture he drew of his mommy and his stepfather dropping him off at his daddy's house. Emily tapes up the picture she drew of her grandmother and her 2 puppies, Emmett and Charlie. David straightens out of the picture he drew of the day of his mommy and daddy brought his new sister, Veronica, home. Mrs. Molly looks at all the picture. It doesn't matter how many mommies or how many daddies your family has, Mrs. Molly says. It doesn't matter if your family has sisters or brothers or cousins or grandmothers or grandpas, uncles or aunts. Each family is special. The most important thing about a family is that all people in it love each other. See, that's the most important thing. Soon Heather's first day of school is over. When Mama Kate and Mama Jane arrive to pick her up, Heather shows them all the pictures. Is that me? Mama Kate asked, pointing Heather's picture. Is that me? Mama Jane asked, pointing too. This is the mommy I love the best, Heather says, pointing to her picture. And this is the mommy I love the best, Heather says, pointing again. Mama Kate and Mama Jane both laugh as Heather gives each of them 2 kisses. Then she takes their hands and they all head home. This is such a nice book, you see. The most important thing is every family love each other, right? And I think we have lots of families who do that and respect each other, and that's the most important thing. Now we're going back now to Sylvie to see how do we continue.
Okay, so I have to admit, as I said before, I cheated a little bit. I made some challah beforehand. So I'm going to show you guys how this part works. So I split, well, first, actually, I'm going to hand it back to Shirel because I took off a piece of the challah dough to do a very special part of the challah making. So Shirel and I can do that part together where we take a piece off of the challah off before we make it. So we separate a piece of challah. Shirel, do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so something that you do with there's also quantity of dough that you need. Is that once upon a time we used to take that part of the challah a little bit and we'll give it to the Kohen. When there was Beit HaMikdash, we don't have it anymore, but we put it away and we get rid of it. Some people will burn it, and I hope you kids don't do that. Let your parents do it, and we're going to do the bracha. Sylvie, would you like to do the bracha? Should I do it?
We can do it together.
Okay, let's see how it works. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'afish challah. Awesome. So now we have our challah, our separated piece, and we're next going to split our challah into 6 different balls. So I have split mine into 6 different sections of all of the same size. And what I'm going to do, I also have my fun food coloring, and this is going to be a bit of an experiment because I'll be mixing some colors. So I'm going to start with the red and the first ball of challah. Oh man, and I already spilled it. Awesome. So I'm going to pick that up with this first dough and mix it in. So we're going to be kneading the color into the first ball of dough. And it can get a little messy, but that's half of the fun. Should always have some challah, some flour on hand to make it a little bit less sticky. Some nice music in the background. Awesome. So I'm gonna get some more, it's hard to mix with the gloves, but I make it with the gloves so that that everybody can eat it together and feel safe. Because we want to make sure that we're being as safe as possible. Yeah. How is everybody else doing? I'd love to hear about how everybody's weeks have been going. Anyone wants to share? Jody, if you would like to unmute yourself and tell us how you're doing. Shirel, do you want to mute me so that we can hear Jody?
Hi, everybody. again, I'm Jody. I'm excited. I have never made rainbow challah, and I've always wanted to know how you're supposed to add the color to the dough. I didn't know how you do it, and I never looked it up. So I'm excited to make my first rainbow challah. And we're doing really well. We're staying busy, staying safe, going for walks and starting to get excited about going out safely into like what's opening up, like getting our hair done, hopefully, and things like that. But people are really good. I think people are really following the directions, and that's very exciting to see. Mom. I have to mute.
That's very exciting. Yeah, now the things
are opening back. It's kind of it's exciting, but also you still need to be careful. Okay, so well, we're doing, look, this is what we're doing here. So I think you need to just like I think we need to put a little bit more of the color, because I see we're not, me and I still need more color. And we'll see now, Sylvie, because Sylvie said 6 pieces, right, Sylvie? Okay, so did you already do the red one? No, not red one. No, not the one. Let me just unmute you.
Can I do a different one?
Yeah, we'll do a different one.
Yeah, so the red one, mine are not mixed amazingly, but it's just for the sake of time, it'll be a little tie-dye. So I finished the red one, and I'm going to go next to orange, which is, as we know, Mia, do you want to tell us how to make orange? Mia, do you know what colors to mix together?
not yet. She will learn probably in a year, but sure, what with you?
Okay, well, that's something to look forward to learning in the future. So we're gonna put some red and some yellow. I put the red first, just because it's already all over my hands. And the funny thing about yellow food color is that it actually looks red in the bottle. I always found that interesting. Oops. This is definitely a multiple person job. So we are going to mix these colors together and hopefully get a nice orange shade. And Orly and Talia, how have you guys been?
Finished school on Wednesday, so we're just starting summer.
That's so exciting. I'm glad that you guys could join us for this lovely challah experience.
Okay, so
For those that are looking at us now on Facebook, I think we're going to end our live streaming, and we're going to put pictures of what was the end of our nice rainbow challah. We're really excited about that. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Here in Zoom will be still here, and just on Facebook we'll post the pictures soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.